Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks, where we're anything but straight. My name is Space.
And I'm Sparrow.
And we welcome you to our episode, which is about what today?
Today, we're going to be exploring traditional art in the fandom.
We talk about a lot of art on our show, but we never really focus on like traditional art as its own like form. So, most of the fandom, I would say, would you say majority of the fandom is digital based at this point?
Yeah, I'd say now it is. Most of it is digital based. If it's like, 2D art type stuff. Of course, there's a lot of like physical media like fursuits and costume pieces. But when it comes to just straight up art, I feel like most of it is digital, but that's certainly not where the fandom started.
No, it was, I mean, if they had tablets back then, they were not sophisticated enough to pull off what we have right now. So before we go into our topic, though, one thing I mentioned earlier this year is that I want to get more featured artists on our shows. So Sparrow has picked out a featured artist. Why don't you go ahead and talk about them real quick?
Sure. The featured artist that I picked out for this episode, her name is Maranda Cromwell. She's a traditional artist, so it's very fitting for today's episode, but they're a traditional artist from the Pacific Northwest, and they really specialized in a lot of mixed media artwork. And if you don't know what mixed media means, that means that you kind of take a bunch of different art forms like paint or paper mache or pastels and clay, and you use a bunch of different things to create a single art piece. So whether she's using paint or oil pastels, sometimes she even uses like hot glue on wood to draw. Their work is a super awesome example of what instinctual artwork looks like. Just getting your hands dirty and putting things on a canvas without planning too far ahead. It kind of reminds me of like a modernized version of cave paintings, but instead of like horses and woolly mammoths, it's a bunch of coyotes. They love doing coyotes the most, I'd say.
It's got a very like New Mexico Southwestern kind of vibe to artwork to it.
Yes.
What do you call it? I don't want to say I keep thinking Tex-Mex, but that's food.
I get that though. No, I totally get where you're coming from.
That's not what but along the lines of that kind of aura right there. That's what I'm seeing from this.
It's
like cave painting. It's very cool looking.
It is. It's very animalistic, but also very human at the same time. They've really struck a perfect balance. Very stylized for sure. If you guys want to check out their art, they do have their own website. It's www.mirandaart.com. And they also have an Instagram, Maranda Cromwell. And of course, we'll have links in the description of this episode for you, but highly recommend checking out their work. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, let's get into the nitty-gritty of our topic for today.
So we talked about how now there's mostly digital art. So it makes sense because we're really in a digital age. But even though we're in this digital age right now, we're really seeing a big boost in traditional artwork. At least I am. Maybe it's my algorithm. I don't know. But I feel like I see it at cons a lot more too. So maybe it's not just on the internet. So today we really want to discuss maybe why this is happening and what kind of benefits there are when it comes to going back to physical media as an art form instead of just leaning on digital.
I feel like it's interesting how things make a comeback. Like if you look at today's fashion, it very much reminiscent of like the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Oh my gosh, yes. Don't get me started.
Like mom jeans are back. I don't know how that happened, but
middle parts on boys are back.
Yeah. Like it's just all of these like weird things keep coming back. But that's the kind of thing that happens in multiple aspects of life. And art is one of those things where, like digital art was a thing, but like you said, traditional art is coming back and it's coming back in different ways, but it's cool how it's coming back.
I really am excited about the idea of traditional art having this comeback. Why do you think it's making a comeback?
I think it's possible that with digital art as it is, and because we're in the age of AI, essentially, we're just so like, I don't know how you could say it, like, we're just bombarded with digital art all over the place. At this point, everyone does it, and maybe it's just we're overwhelmed. And so we're looking for things to be different, something to break out of the norm. And so by doing that, by going back to traditional art, we're actually rediscovering talents and skill that we may have had, but we just didn't really use before. And being able to see that like physically is a lot more, I think, aesthetically pleasing than necessarily looking at digital art all the time.
Yeah, I think it's also a lot of people needing to step away from their screen time for their own mental health. I know that was a big part of it for me personally, going back into traditional art about a year and a half ago is when I really started picking up on it, because I was like, I just can't be on screens all the time anymore, and I don't want my art to be connected to a screen. So I started picking up a sketchbook, started picking up block printing, and just getting away from the screen. I think a lot of people are resonating with needing that break from technology and just grounding yourself in reality.
And it's not just like that too. It's also the fact that you can touch it. So
yes.
Unlike digital, I mean, sure, you can go to a con, you can go to a dealer's den or whatever, go to a booth and they have prints. That's one thing. But it's another when you have like a textured art piece that you can touch. Something about touching is very exciting. Yeah. Recently, this is something that Sparrow and I have been doing kind of like, I don't want to say like behind the scenes, but we've been pen paling each other, like physically pen paling each other. And what's been really fun is that I've been able to get back into my groove of creating and crafting. I love to craft. I would rather do that than do it digitally because there's just something about cutting paper. There's something about gluing and putting something together. And it just feels so amazingly satisfying other than just drawing. Like I can create thumbnails and things. I've done things where I've created art pieces on, like Canva and then printed it out and put it in a card. Not for you, but for like other people. Mm-hmm. It's not the same. I just don't feel like all my love is going into it. And I feel like traditional art just has all of the love. It's like baking, but creating with just art in general.
I love the wax stamps that you put on the letters you send to me. I peel them off and I save them.
So I have this collection of this. It's something I've started doing over the years. I've started collecting like wax stamps. So I have like 2 sets of wax pellets. They have a variety of colors. Some are shimmery, some are just more like regular color. I've got shimmers that I could add to it. Then I've got like these metal stamps that you just put a little wooden handle on. I think I've got about 10 of them, but I'm expanding more and more. And it's just fun to experiment. You can mix colors with it. One thing I've wanted to do, but it's really difficult. And so I have to get like specific tools for it is I need like tiny precision scissors. And I've seen on like Instagram where people will take a wax stamp and they'll stamp one color, wipe it off, and then cut out that shape, put it back into the stamp, add the next layer. So we're essentially kind of doing like watercolor, but with wax. And you have to be really careful with, you have to be careful with your layers. And eventually the whole finished piece is beautiful. It's hard. It's frustrating. I've tried to do it before, but in the end, it's really rewarding because then you learn something new and it looks really cool. And people are like, that's neat. It's better than a sticker, And
you can touch it.
Yeah. I love doing wax. It's like my favorite thing at the end of creating a letter, like hand making everything, putting that wax stamp on it. It's just like beautiful.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about a bunch of different types of traditional art mediums today, and we're going to be rating them based off of 4 different categories. The first category is going to be availability. How easy is it to obtain the art supplies, or how affordable is it to get the supplies? Because, with the internet, availability is everywhere, but even affordability is a part of it. And then there's accessibility. How easy is it to use? Shareability. How easy is it for you to share the artwork with others? And profitability. How easy is it to make a profit off of the specific art form? So it's like a 4-star system, 1 being low and 4 being high in these different categories.
Yeah. So our first major category of those is paintings.
And paintings is tricky because there's so many different types of paint you can choose from, but we narrowed it down to talking about 3 different kinds today: acrylic, watercolor, and oils.
Yeah.
And we're going to, specifically with paint, the availability and accessibility is different for all 3 types, but we determined that the shareability and profitability is the same. So why don't you start with acrylic, Space?
So acrylic is probably the most wildly accessible paint out there because everyone uses it, from classrooms to actual artwork. It's super easy to work with. It's cheap to buy. You can find it in all craft stores, big box stores. It's easy to learn how to use. It's very forgiving. If you make a mistake, it's easy to correct. It's a very simple paint. I haven't really used acrylic as much. I know Felix has. Felix is more adept to paints. I think he's done acrylic. He just did one. Oh my God, I should show it to you. I just realized this. He took side tangent. He took a class, like a 6-week course class, painting and learning new techniques and things. And his last final piece was something that he did where he took his fursona and he turned it into the girl with the pearl earring.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And then it took him a couple of days to paint it. I'm not sure what kind of paint he used. It looked fancy. It looked thicker than like acrylic paint. And then he I don't want to say he Mod Podged the end product of it. Maybe shellacked it.
It might have been a sealer, yeah.
Super cool. Let me see if I can find this. As far as availability, acrylic is 4 stars. You can literally get it anywhere, and it's super duper cheap. Accessibility, also 4 stars. Really easy to learn. Probably one of the most basic types of paint you'll work with.
Yeah. Watercolor is the next one on our list. The availability for watercolor is also 4 stars. It's also cheaper to buy. It's not as cheap as acrylic for at least a really good quality watercolor paint, but it's not crazy expensive either. And you can also find it not only at craft stores, but also big box stores, just like with the acrylic paint. The accessibility, though, is a little bit different than acrylic. It's still easy to learn how to use, but it's not as forgiving. If you accidentally bleed over with watercolor, or if you accidentally paint outside the lines, you can't really cover it with white paint and start fresh like you can with acrylic. Still not crazy hard, but 3 out of 4 stars for accessibility.
Yeah. Watercolor, though, are we talking about... It's not as forgiving as acrylics, but watercolor in general, if you want to go down this route, it's a very specific way of layering when painting. It's not like paint where like acrylic where you can paint and let it dry and then paint on top of that and then maybe use that as a shade to go darker. Watercolor doesn't work like that. You're painting more with water and less color, but then you also have to learn where to balance, where to start with. I think I learned to do it a long time ago. You always start with the background first, and then you kind of layer up going from there, which it can be really difficult. So if you want to get into watercolors, it's a beautiful thing to do, but it's really hard to learn because you have to be very specific as to how you layer and create your piece.
Yeah, a lot more intention.
Yeah.
Dude, the picture you just sent me of Felix's art, that's so cool. It looks like oil paint to me.
He said it was mixable oil paint. Water
Okay,
mixable.
so I was right. It is oil paint, which is actually the next paint on our list. Oil paint, okay. Oil paint is a lot fancier. All right. The availability, I would say, for oil paint is 2 stars. It's not really available at big box stores. You can find it at craft stores, but again, your Michaels isn't going to have the fanciest oil paint in the world. You probably have to get it online or at Blick or wherever. And you also need specialized cleaners to safely dispose of oil paint because, oil doesn't mix with water. You can't just clean it in your sink. So that means it's also more expensive than watercolor and acrylic. The accessibility is also 3 stars. Still not terrible. It's similar to watercolor. I would even say it's more forgiving than watercolor because you can layer it. It doesn't dry fast like acrylic does, though. So that means, you really got to learn layering when it comes to oil paints.
And to kind of give you an idea as far as like oils go, the base, and I'm just using Michael's Arts and Crafts as a reference here. If you were to go to Michael's and get your oil paint, the bare minimum, you're looking at between $4.50 and $11.25 for just a small 1.2 ounce bottle. But if I were to go and look for the highest price, like the highest value, then you're looking at, what was the one that I found? Okay, $506.
Golly.
And whenever you watch videos of people making paints, they're generally making oil paints. And if you ever look into it, to get those colors that they have, they're very expensive. And there's a reason why is because some of the pigments are very difficult to make and they're very difficult to acquire. So when you're painting with oil, it's definitely not something you want to make a mistake with.
Yeah.
Because it is so expensive.
Yeah. Whenever you watch Bob Ross videos, those are usually oil paints too.
Yeah, and and those are thick. Those are some thick ass paints.
She's thick, boy.
And I believe with that too, if you guys ever seen, I want to say it's oil, but it's mixed with something, are those puffy, like super thick, kind of like, I want to say it looks like concrete mixture. And you can create these really like elaborate, cool looking paintings that dry in 3-dimensional. But I think they're mixed with oil because they're also very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool because, like, I mean, some of those can even take months and months to dry, too.
Yeah. And to give you a reference for acrylic versus oils, acrylic paint starts anywhere between 79 cents to a max of maybe $5. And that's about as high as it gets, really. So there you go.
Yeah. Oil paints is tricky.
Yeah.
So for all three, we decided that all three of these have the same shareability and profitability because, you know, painting's a painting. For shareability, we gave it 3 stars. Even though you make the one painting and you can't necessarily pass around that one painting with others, you can make prints of your art piece. And I know I've bought a few prints at conventions and at festivals of traditional art pieces that are printed, you know, and resold. So you can sell those online and you can share copies with others. And that also makes it profitable. We gave it 4 stars for profitability because those prints can be sold at art shows. They could be sold at coffee shops, at conventions, wherever. And if you really want to make a pretty penny, you can even sell your original paintings for an even higher price than the prints themselves. So that's always a nice option too.
I kind of had a thought. Say the average furry goes to a convention. Do you think they can even spot the difference between acrylic and oils?
Not as a print, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not an untrained eye, because if you're really skilled with acrylic, then, you know, you can really smooth it out like you can with oils. It might be harder, it might take more practice, but I think with original art pieces, if you know your stuff, you could definitely tell the difference.
And oils tend to have a little bit of a shimmer, like a sheen to it as well. So when you look at an oil painting, you know it's like legit high quality. And that's why they tend to be more expensive, because they are just 100 times better than, you know, other stuff. So if you come across like, I don't think I've come across any like oil paintings per se at conventions, but I definitely will now keep an eye out for it to see. And maybe I'll ask the artist too what kind of paints they use, because that's actually genuinely intriguing now that I think about it.
I know there's been a few prints I've bought that are oil-based paintings that are copies. I'm looking at a few on my wall right now.
I bet. Well, okay, so here's the thing. I'm looking at my wall, and I know for a fact that some of these were acrylic. Definitely one was more of like the high quality like markers, Copics, I think.
Yes, alcohol markers.
Yeah. And then I can tell that the one I'm looking at right now was most definitely done on a digital, like a tablet, just because the brush strokes used are just impractical. Like you can't even obtain that in physical form.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Why don't you talk about the next one? Because this is a really cool one.
Yes. So the next one on our list is block printing, otherwise known as lino printing. And this is a really cool art form. This is when you take either a specific block of wood or a block of rubber or a block of linoleum, and you take these gouges, these carving tools, and you carve out, basically it's like a stamp. So when you think of a stamp that you buy at like a craft store, everything that's raised up is what the ink grabs onto. And then everything that's lowered, the ink doesn't touch. So you basically have to carve out the negatives and only leave the positives so that the ink prints exactly the image that you want. It's something that I've actually gotten into. I've been doing it pretty frequently. I would say weekly. I'm carving linoleum and I'm carving rubber stamps and making patches and prints with them. It's a really, really fun art form. So for availability with block printing, we gave it 3 stars. You can purchase block printing supplies, whether it's like the linoleum or the carving tools ink, at most craft stores. You can't get them at big box stores, though. You're not going to find it at Walmart and Target like you're going to find canvases and acrylic paint. That also makes the accessibility about 3 stars. It's easy to learn how to do. You just gotta really watch some tutorials in order to figure out the bare bones of it. You know, being able to see and carve out in negative space can be difficult for some brains, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. But it's not forgiving if you make a mistake. If you accidentally gouge a line out that you meant to keep, you're gonna have to work with that and figure out a way around it, because you can't just glue rubber back on.
Yeah.
Shareability, I give it 4 stars. This art form is made for printmaking specifically. The rubber stamp itself is not the thing that you sell. You use it to make multiple versions of the same art piece. You can print on paper, fabric, clothing. So it's purely meant for sharing. So it's like a perfect score for shareability.
Yeah.
And because of that, profitability also lands on 4 stars because you can sell prints, you can sell patches. If it's meant to share, it can also be meant to sell. And I think this is one of the traditional art forms I've seen blowing up a lot at furry conventions specifically. I see a lot of lino block prints and lino block patches in artist alleys the past, I'd say 3 years I've seen them blow up.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's so cool.
It's interesting. I don't know if it's something, I mean, I probably wouldn't get into it, but it's interesting to like, you're right. You have to carve out the negatives and keep the positives.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like redesigning backwards in a weird way. Yeah. You're going back to pull out what you can. It's so interesting though. It's such a cool thing to do.
It is so cool. I'm actually about to send you some ones I just did this month just for funsies.
Oh, yeah. That's cool.
And they did a big wolf one, too, that I haven't printed on fabric yet, but I finished carving the block itself.
That's nifty. Would you say that block and lino prints, like, what is it called? When you layer, you can do it with paintings. You can do it with shirts, too. You do one color layer, and then you, like, pull this thing over it. And then you put on the next color and you pull that over it. It basically...
Oh, that is screen printing. It's very similar to block printing.
Screen printing is a cool one, too. That would be so frustrating to learn.
Yeah. I know how screen printing works, but I also, can't visualize it in my brain. I have a hard time visualizing it.
It's so... Yeah, I like watching it, but I can't wrap my mind around it. It's a little too much for me. And, just something that came into my eye, my brain that we didn't even think about putting on here is also something that I've seen pop up in the furry world. Not as big, it's small, but it's getting there. It's big outside of the furry fandom, but rug making.
Oh, yeah.
Like shaving and all that stuff. That is something, that's an interesting art form. Definitely not forgiving, because if you mess up, you're screwed.
There is actually a class that you could take close to where I live where they give you the supplies and they give you a quick lesson on how to tuft rugs. And then they let you just go ham for an hour to make your own rug. And I really want to try it.
Now I'm looking at the one you just sent me. That's is that rubber or wood?
That one's rubber. All of these are from rubber. That one's unfinished in that picture, but I did finish it.
I really like the textures, but it's only the black that shows up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The texture you're seeing is just the gouging and me carving inward.
Thought you could do this. You could do negative prints in cement, mud, or clay and pull those gouges out. I mean, as texture, that would look so cool.
That would look really cool. It's even for making tiles or something, that'd be sick.
That would be sweet looking.
Speaking of tiles, ceramics is an S12. Why don't you talk about ceramic space?
Yay, ceramics! Yay! Everyone knows ceramics. Whether you're going to Color Me Mine or those paint studios, or it's the slab of clay that you're playing with, availability is 1 star. So supplies such as clay, kilns, and glazes are not typically available at craft stores or big stores. You got to use specialty stores or the internet. Supplies are super costly. Glaze is a really... Besides availability, I think even just trying to learn how to use glaze is so freaking difficult because of how it goes on. It dries really quickly and you have to layer it multiple times in order to get the definite color. I commend anyone who does ceramics who can do this well enough to pull it off because it is such a difficult art form to do. It's beautiful because you can craft and create with it, but the finishing touches of using glaze is just a whole nother story. It's I'd rather learn to do, I don't know, anything else besides that.
God, and glazes are so tricky because most of them, the color they are after you pull them out of the kiln is not the color they look like when you put them on.
Yeah.
I know there's one specific glaze I used when I did ceramics in college. It went on pink like Pepto-Bismol, but that was not the color it was when it came out. It was a blue or something. It was what is science? Chemistry?
Yeah, its accessibility is 2 stars. A lot of detail goes into sculpting, glazing, and firing ceramics properly. It takes a lot of trial and error. Now, I don't know if anyone has done this as just a side elective. I've done it in high school where you take ceramics. It's fun. You get your clay, okay? And I don't even know where the teacher got those big old, 10-pound blocks of clay, but you got it. And then you got to form it. And it takes a lot of time to form clay. I don't know if you ever worked with it. Play-Doh is not clay, okay? So that goes away. But like clay itself is so hard to work with. And it's very temperamental too.
It is.
Because of temperature and atmosphere. So if you live in an environment like myself in Utah, you got to be constantly applying water to it if you're working with fresh clay to create something. Otherwise, it'll dry and crack, and then it will fall apart when it comes out of the kiln.
Yeah. And then even the kiln itself, it's like if you work in ceramics, you have to be okay with your artwork not existing after it comes out of the kiln, because if there's even just one little air bubble or one little error, your work could explode, or somebody else's work in the kiln could explode and then break your stuff. Like it's difficult.
Yeah, they say like when you were in class and stuff, you would stuff like hollow areas with paper so that it burns out, but it needs paper to stay in form even when it's dry. If you didn't have something inside of like, let's say a vase or whatever, and you were drying it and then putting it in the kiln, it would just fold in on itself because it structurally just can't hold itself. It's really difficult. But it's really beautiful if you can pull it off. Not everyone can, but there are different types of clay things. So I think the ones that we're talking about more like vases and really intricate like looking sculptures. But I've seen other people do like the clay ones where it like sets in like, I don't know, like 2 hours. That's more workable and fun to play with. I think that's more accessible. But what we're talking about is like traditional clay.
Mm-hmm.
Shareability, 1 star. You can share photos of your work online or in galleries, but you're limited by only having 1 copy of that artwork that you make. It's basically like a painting, but unlike a painting where you can like print it and print and print and print, a physical object just doesn't do that. I mean, you can take a picture and sell the picture of the object, but the object itself, it's its own thing. You can't make copies of it.
Yeah,
it just
most people don't buy photographs of sculptures.
That would be so funny if someone's like, oh yeah, I love ceramics. And you go to their house and it's just like paintings and pictures of ceramics, but there are no ceramics in the house.
Oh my God. Even more ironic if they use like paper plates and solo cups.
Yeah. Yes. Profitability is about 2.5 stars. It's harder to sell and ship ceramics, but because of the nature of the medium, pieces do sell for a higher price. So
I know
that's why
every year there's an artist in the Furry Week in Atlanta, Artist Alley, that sells handmade ceramics, a lot of mugs, some like spoon rests and things like that. And every year I get a mug from them. And man, their mugs are anywhere from $60 to $100, which you're like $60 for a mug, but you gotta like to think about the time it takes to sculpt them, to add to it and glaze it, and you have to fire it multiple times. Like you can make a pretty penny, but it's not fast to make. So, you can make money, but your price has to be expensive for you to make a profit.
And if you're going to use the mug as a reference, if you find other like booths out there that have like artwork on a mug, but it looks like a standard mug, it's because they're using a service that already has these pre-made and they're able to order it in a bulk amount, which lowers the price, which means you can buy it at a cheaper price. But when it comes to like true legit ceramics and you got someone in there that is selling a piece that is like $50 or more, there's a reason behind it because it's difficult, it's unforgiving, but it's really beautiful when it's done and it's a one-of-a-kind piece.
Mm-hmm. So another version of ceramics is oven baked clay. And this is also something I've seen a resurgence in the furry fandom. Oven baked clay, think things like Fimo or Sculpey. You could buy little blocks of it and you can sculpt it at your own pace and you just bake it in your oven. And it almost has like a plasticky texture to it. I'm pretty sure you have a Sculpey figure of your persona and Felix's persona as like a wedding cake topper, don't you?
Oh, yeah, we do. It's super heavy, too.
Yeah, because they're so big.
Yeah. I think Deer also made one, too. I'm going to see if I can find the picture because she sent me this, and it's basically the cat from the comic that eats lasagna.
Oh, Garfield?
Garfield, yeah.
Bro.
But here's the best part. She added to it afterwards and she sent me a picture and I'm like, oh my God, that's Velma meets Garfield. Like that's a Velma Garfield right there. And she made these little figurines and she painted it too. And it's so amazing. She is a woman who has just skill beyond the tablet and it is amazing.
Oven baked clay is so cool. So for oven baked clay, we gave the availability 4 stars. You can really buy Sculpey and Fimo at any craft store. They're really everywhere. And you can also get it at big box stores too. Mostly just like blocks of white, but still, you can paint it. So not a big deal if you can only find white. So it's available everywhere. It's also really accessible to use. I know we were joking about Play-Doh earlier, but it's not, it's not as squishy as Play-Doh, but it's just as easy to use. It's a lot more forgiving than ceramics. One big reason why it's more forgiving is because it doesn't dry until you put it in the oven. So if something doesn't work and you're like, I don't want to deal with this anymore, you can just walk away from it for a day or two and come back if you want, and it's still okay for you to continue messing with. And like I said before, you can just paint it with acrylics after it's baked. You don't have to use glazes that have weird colors that aren't the actual colors. It's just acrylic paint. It works out. Shareability is 2 stars. You're still limited in the same way as ceramics, where you make one sculpture and then that's the one sculpture that you have. But, you can still share pictures. Profitability, I would say, is 3 stars. It's not as fragile as ceramics, so you can ship it a little easier. You can bring it to conventions with you, but it still can be tricky to ship more complex pieces. But because it's so much easier to use than ceramics, you can make little simple figurines, and you can sell those really simplified ones very, very easily at shops or at conventions. My sister actually does this. She'll take Sculpey and she'll make these little figures of like cats or dragons or bears or whatever she just feels like making, and she'll paint them and she'll sell them for like $30 for a little figurine, and it's really cute.
I guess if you wanted to make multiple copies, and again, this is something you'd probably have to learn in addition to, is you could make casts of the initial Sculpey and then use plaster essentially to fill in the negative and then create mass versions of it. But that is probably more work than you're willing to go through. So.
No, I think that's a valid point. A lot of people do that. Well, they'll make a Sculpey version of a figure and then cast it in resin or in plaster.
Or silicone or something like that.
Silicone, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, and it's cool. I keep trying to tell my sister, you should try casting one, see how it works. And she's like, no, I like making unique ones every time. And I can get that too. But
yeah, there's just something. Would you consider, I think this is the thing that I sent you. I think it was a Sculpey. It's a thing that Deer made.
Yes, that's definitely Sculpey.
Yeah. So it's pretty classic. But that thing, again, it's a one-of-a-kind thing.
Garfield Velma.
Yeah. And if I were to ask her to make me one, she probably wouldn't. She'd probably do something different.
It's so cute.
It is cute. It's really well done, though. She's like, this is the funny thing. She's like, it's really the first time I've ever sculpted anything. And I'm like, that's your first time? What? I don't understand it.
It's so cute.
This next one is your forte. Do you want to go over this one too?
Sure, if you don't mind. The next one on our list is actually wood burning. So wood burning and lino block prints are my thing. Wood burning is really cool. It's when you take this tool that is specifically made for wood burning. It almost looks and feels like a tattoo machine, but instead of having a needle on the end, it's like a piece of metal that heats up. And you can burn wood, you can burn bone. What are some other things you could burn? I mean, I feel like those are the safest bets. Availability, I'd say 3 out of 4 stars. You could buy wood burning kits at most craft stores, and you can also buy wood at big box stores, craft stores. You could go into the woods and pick it up off the ground. You can thrift pieces of wood, like wooden plates or spoons or whatever. So it's mostly available. You can't just go to Target and get yourself a wood burning tool, but you can go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever. Accessibility, I would say 4 stars. Once you get used to the burn style of the tool that you buy, it's pretty easy to use, especially if you're already used to drawing. You do need an outlet to use the tool, so it's not like you can do it anywhere you want, like a sketchbook. But, if you have an outlet, if you got electricity, then you can do some wood burning. Shareability, I would say it's 3 stars, because you could take pictures of your art and you can make prints of wood burns to sell, or you can sell originals. A lot of artists will wood burn smaller art pieces like magnets or coasters, even little wooden buttons that you can wear on like book bags and stuff. And if you would burn a lot of small pieces, it's a lot easier to share with a lot of different people rather than just having one big art piece out there. And that makes profitability 4 stars as well. You could sell large wood burn art pieces as originals. You could sell prints, or you could smell.
You could definitely smell it.
No, you can definitely smell it. Wood burn art smells so good, I will say. When you get, even after you seal it with sealer and stuff, it still smells like a campfire. I love it.
I wonder how awesome it would smell to like do cedar wood burning.
Oh, it's awesome. I've done it.
Be like sitting in a sauna, but you're just like doing the art.
But like, you could sell little art pieces too if you're focusing on quantity. So it's definitely profitable as well. This is another thing I feel like I've seen a resurgence of, not as much as block printing, but I've seen a little bit more of it in the furry community.
I've seen more of it appear sometimes at shops that I go to outside of the fandom, and it's cool.
It is very cool.
Really cool.
And the type of wood burning that I'm talking about is like you have the tool in your hand. Some people will do like, it's almost like a Cricut machine, but it laser cuts wood. That's not what I'm talking about. That feels a little too similar to 3D printing for me to call it traditional art. I'm talking about wood burning tool in your hand and you're burning the wood manually.
Yeah, I've seen the device. You're right. It looks just like a tattoo, kind of like artist pen, but it has like this, it almost looks like a soldering tip, to be honest. It gets really, really hot. Other things you can do too, as a benefit or a bonus to this, is you can actually then burn the wood with like a flame to kind of give it more of a
like smoky.
Yeah. So all in all, though, I would say caution when doing this at home. Obviously, don't do it right below the smoke detector.
Yes.
Not the smartest idea. Take the batteries out.
And if you're not in a well-ventilated area, definitely wear a respirator if you need to, because if you're really going hard on the black work, the smoke could be a little overwhelming sometimes.
And maybe just as like a precaution too, I would assume that if you're working with wood burning, to wear like wood burning gloves, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you probably should. I don't because I'm dumb, but yeah, you probably should.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it seems like something I could probably get into.
It's so fun. You should.
Yeah. Our next category is plush and puppet making. What is it? So I don't know if you guys have started to notice this, but I've noticed this over the past like 6 to 9 months. So roughly the time a woman is pregnant. Just kidding.
I was just about to say that. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, it's a pregnancy.
Right. But no, truly it is. I've started to see fursuiters coming out with puppets that are their fursuit. They're just hand puppets and they're exact replicas essentially. And I'm like, this is a genius idea because like, what if you don't have the money for a fursuit and you just want to get a puppet of your fursuit or of your fursona? That would work just as well too. So this is something that's starting to pop up. It's not widely across the fandom universe yet. It's fairly small, but it is something that is cool to get into if this is what you're looking to do.
Puppets used to be huge in the fandom in the 90s.
Yeah, but they're coming back now. It's just a lot of fun. So availability, 4 stars. Fabrics can be bought at craft stores, big box stores, and thrifted. Fabrics can be affordable to purchase. Thread, needles, other plush making suppliers can also be purchased at largely at any store. I would assume it's pretty much the same way of making a fursuit. It's the same. Well, no, because fur is what? A little bit more.
It's more dense.
Yeah. Accessibility, 3 stars. If you already know how to sew or make fursuits, plush making can be an easy craft to learn. If you do not know how to sew, there are free and purchasable patterns as well as tutorials available online. Shareability. As much as we would love it to be a 4, it is not. It is a 1 star. You make 1 plush. People do not buy prints of plushies unless you're that weirdo who buys prints of ceramics.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you walk into their house and you're like, can I get a glass of water? And you open up the cabinet. It's just frames of like ceramic glasses. And then you walk into their bedroom and instead of having like plushies on the bed, it's just a bunch of framed pictures of plushies.
That would be just, that would be, I'd just be like, I need to go. I gotta go make a call. You might get some people knocking on your door later, but I gotta go. That would be so interesting as an art piece if someone set this up like in a studio, but it would be so frustrating if you went into someone's house and everything was literally just like an art piece, like a painting.
Not everything has to be a modern art exhibit, Frank.
God. Unless you're making many small plushies with the intention of sharing in a cuddle army, they are not very shareable as far as an art form goes. So
Boo.
Typically with plushies and or making puppet making, unless you've got a maker set up where you've sent them designs of how you want it to be done, and then you can make multiple versions of that, which is unlikely if you're starting out. Each individual plush and puppet is going to be uniquely different from the next, even if you're making just the same one. So they're going to have their differences.
Yeah.
Profitability, 4 stars. So overall, it's like 4 stars, except for that one.
Yeah.
Even though you can make only one copy, people love plushies. They are typically easy to sell at conventions, art festivals, and shops. That is a hands down instant winner. So if you want
really is.
It really, no one cares. You could literally buy a giant pom-pom, stick some googly eyes on it. Someone will buy that.
We are just empathetic creatures. We see a plushie, we're like, wow, that real. And then we buy it.
Yeah, I actually went. So my very first con for Idaho, Potato Con essentially, is a very tiny, sad con now that I think about it. But I went there and I found an artist who made custom plushies out of felt and stuff. And I don't know what happened to my original plushie, but I actually got one made of my fursona at the time. And it was super duper cute.
That's so
gone
cool.
now. But I have thought about going and getting another one done, because it would look pretty epic the way that Space looks now. But
yeah. Oh, agree. Space, why don't you go over leather work too? I feel like that's your forte.
Leather.
Delicious.
Delicious. So leatherwork in general is a really interesting art form. It is everywhere, but at the same time, nowhere. So it just depends on where you look. Most places you'll find leatherwork will be Ren fairs, festivals, and they usually range from wallets to knife holders, belts, hats, armor. Yeah, pretty much anything you can think of. Leather is somewhat involved in it somewhere. Availability, though, is 2 stars. You can buy a basic leather working supplies at craft stores, but there is not a large variety. You will rely on specialty stores or the internet. Leather, it just depends on the quality, where you get it from. It is also a very unforgiving material. So if you mess up on leather, sucks for you. You have to start over again.
Yeah.
Leather can be really cheap, or it can be really expensive. So it just depends on what you're working with. Accessibility, 2 stars. If you're already familiar with making clothing and accessories as well as sewing, you will have a foot in the door. However, this medium handles differently than traditional fabric and will take time getting used to. This is an interesting point of view. So I learned this, 2 weeks ago? We were at Felix's mom's birthday dinner, and his brother came down, and they were telling us about how they kind of bought half this business of this guy who does leather bindings to books. So you just regular books that you buy, hardbound, and then they create custom leather bindings to the outside of it. And he said that it's really difficult because they're custom creating, and then they're using a laser to etch into it. But something I probably would have never thought about was he was saying that you have to be really careful, because if you burn the laser at a specific intensity for even just the wrong timing, it'll burn right through, and you pretty much have lost it. If you burn at a low intensity, even at a very short period of time, it'll burn right through. So it's, even if you're using digital parts to burn into leather, it's very difficult to learn, because it's a interesting piece of artwork to use. Some of it's firm, some of it's not. If you're using traditional tools, it could be similar to rubber working or wood burning, or wood carving maybe.
Wood burn, you can burn leather.
You can. Mm-hmm. You can burn leather. It's probably going to be around the same lines of burning wood. It will not burn as fast as wood would, but yeah. Shareability, 2 stars. So most leather art is meant to be worn or shown off, which makes it great to share with others or to show off in person. However, items cannot be mass produced easily. Again, unless you've got something set up where you can create the initial negative and then send it off to be constantly made, you're not going to be able to mass produce the same piece of work, because it's different each and every single time. Profitability, 3 stars. So leatherwork is an expensive medium to make and sell, but it has a market with demand. They can be sold in stores, art festivals, and at conventions.
I feel like without fail, there's always a couple of booths at furry conventions that sell leatherwork specifically.
Oh, there's always, okay, if we're going to talk about like, there's always just like a staple of booths. There's always a staple of that one booth that sells like gems for some reason.
Yeah.
Gems and pieces of art that have nothing to do with the fandom, but they're there anyways. But if they weren't there, I'd be concerned. So
yeah.
It's just kind of like there. Something to also note with is leather is also temperamental. So depending on the environment that you're in, if you get it wet, if you let it dry out too much, it won't work the way you want it to. Some leather, you do need to use water and you need to use tension. And so you'll have to learn those particular techniques as well when using or creating art with leather. You can sew with it, you can burn it, you can also imprint into it. So you can use negatives to stamp into it. You will need some force though. So it's not something you can just go, bam, I'm stamped, I'm good. You have to use like, I think metal tools or like durable tools, and then you got to really like smack the hell out of it to get it imprinted in.
I mean, it is skin.
It is skin, but it is a cool medium to learn if you've got the budget and the time and the patience to do it.
And it smells good.
It does. It's like opening a book. There's just something about that smell that just doesn't go away. Now, granted, I don't like put my belt on every morning and go, oh, I love the smell of my belt, you know?
But when you walk into like a leather booth or like those stores that sell like cowboy hats and boots, I don't know if you have those in Utah, but we do here.
We do, yeah.
Smells so good.
I think they're called like cow stores or
yes,
a cow ranch. They have like, Utah's a big farming like state, so they have tons of those stores here. It's fun.
That's cool. All right. And to wrap up our last traditional medium, I think it has a perfect score for availability, accessibility, shareability, and profitability. And that is zines. Zines are not making a huge comeback right now, but I'm seeing an incline and I'm so excited for it because this is an art form that was really popular in the 90s and early 2000s, where basically you make a little magazine. That's why it's called zines. It's a little magazine and you put whatever the hell you want in it. If you want to make a magazine that's collage art of hot dogs, you could do that. If you want to make a zine that is talking about, the AIDS epidemic, you can do that. If you want to make a zine that is all magazine perfume samples, you could do that. Like,
you can even make a zine that has pictures of other zines in it.
You could make a zine that's pictures of all
the ceramic
artwork. You could do that. Zines can be whatever the fuck you want them to be, and it's beautiful. So availability, 4 stars. You can make zines any way you want to. Crayons, ink, collages. You can turn any art form into a zine. As long as you can make multiple copies of it and print them, you're good. Accessibility is also 4 stars because of the open-ended nature of zines. They're very easy to learn how to make, and there's tons of tutorials online and resources online for how to print zines. I'd say the easiest zine to make is a 6-page zine where you just, fold up a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and you turn it into a little pamphlet. That's probably the easiest version. And then the harder versions you can get printed at like a print shop and you staple the spine almost like a little book. But it could be as easy or as complex as you want. Shareability is also 4 stars. They are literally meant to be shared. If you're making a zine, you're not just making one copy for yourself. Zines are meant to be printed. They're meant for you to leave around town or to give them away free. Some people share them, which also makes profitability 4 stars. Some people sell them. You can give them away for free, but you can also sell them at conventions. I've bought a handful of zines in my life, both at cons and online. They're cheap to make, which means you can make a lot of them, which means you can sell a lot of them. So it makes it a really easy impulse buy for a customer because you're like, oh, that's only $5, or oh, that's only $10, and you just yoink it, give the person your money, and you have a cool little art book for you to keep. I love zines.
I have a zine from you. You made a zine for me.
I did. I'm going to send you another one with my next pen pal letter.
Yes. It was cool. I think the one that you have, I mean, it's on my desk, but it's in an envelope. I think it was nature, like leaves.
Yeah,
and,
it was
and
carved critters.
Yeah.
And then the one I'll be sending you next is one about being a butch, which I know you're not a lesbian, but I know you'll appreciate it anyway.
Okay, speaking of butch and lesbians, this actually works out so well.
What? Okay, go for it.
Side tangent, but I had to go and get my hair cut about 2 weeks ago, and it was really long. And I was talking to my stylist, and we were just like in this in-depth conversation. And then she looks at me, she's like, "Oh no, I cut your hair much shorter than I normally do." And I'm like, "It's hair. It'll grow back. Let's just wash it and we'll call it good." I get home and I look in the mirror and I look and I'm like, "Oh my God, she gave me a damn lesbian haircut." It is like stereotypical, like shaved on the sides and then very like little length of hair in the middle. And I'm like, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? How do I color this? And I'm like trying to like push it to like the left or the right and it doesn't move the way I want it to. And I'm like, no. So I was like just so frustrated by it. So when you said lesbian and butch, that's the first thing that came to my head was
You're a lesbian.
I'm currently stuck with a lesbian haircut right now.
Oh my God.
It sucks. Not a choice that I would ever choose for myself, given the color that I like to play with and the style that I like to do. So, but it's true. It's hair. It will grow back.
I can't believe you're a lesbian now, Space.
I am a lesbian for the next couple of weeks. Butch lesbian.
Lovely.
All I need now is a pair of Crocs and I'll be good.
Oh my God. Get you some Chacos.
What are Chacos?
Chacos are like hiking sandals.
No.
Yes. Let the dogs out, Space. Let them out.
I cannot stand hiking sandals. I think it's just, I'm sorry. I don't want to see your dirty feet on the trail. Your feet belong in a shoe. The shoe covers it. I like that. As soon as I see your dirty feet, I'm like, gross. Don't talk to me.
You know what? I think hiking sandals I have to be exclusive to you're on the lake. If you're wearing sandals on a legit hike, you're a little bit dumb because if you get bit by a snake because your toes are out, that's your problem.
Yeah, that's your fault, you know.
Chacos are for the lake only, girlies.
Chaco. How would you even spell that?
Chokos, maybe?
Chacos. Let's see. Oh, like Chaco. Oh, ew. Yeah, these are the ones I'm thinking of. I hate these so much.
They're so ugly, and lesbians love them.
Oh my God. Lesbians.
Chacos, Colombian shirts, khaki pants, Subarus.
Yes. You want to build like the quintessential lesbian, like butch lesbian. This is the site that you start at.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Butch Cinderella didn't drop a glass slipper. She dropped a Chaco.
No, don't. Ew. She takes her shoe off and she's got the tan lines on her feet.
Oh my God. Yeah. Instead of seeing if it fits, the tan lines just have to match up perfectly.
Yeah. Damn it.
Oh man, I wish I could draw comics because we got a lot of good comedy gold in this episode for comics specifically.
We do. Well, I don't know how to outro us out.
I do.
Okay.
Just off the cuff, if you make zines, please share them with us. If you have a digital copy that we could flip through, or if you have them for sale anywhere, because that's the only art form on this list today that has a perfect 4 out of 4 stars on every single category. I would love to see what you guys have. If you're a zine maker, please share it with us. Other than that, though, if you're a traditional artist in general, send us your work. If you do wood burning, if you do painting, if you do collages, we just really want to see what you guys are creating. It's been really, really refreshing seeing this surge of traditional artwork online. And I want to see that in our Straight from the Muzzle community too. So feel free to email us your work at talktothemuzzle@gmail.com. Or if you would like to join our lovely Telegram chat, people will share their work in there every now and then too. Feel free to join the fun, send your work in, and you might just be the next featured artist on the episodes to come.
Speaking of which, hi, this is Rim. If you really want to get your art featured on a future episode, you could also consider sending in some fan art. Whether you happen to do a traditional art medium that we talked about in this episode and you want to send in some fan art that way, or maybe now you wonder what Blue would look like with Chacos riding a Subaru. I don't know. We'd love to see your fan art.
Yep.
Oh, yup.
Yep. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank now. I mean, it's late.
Nah, you're good. I'm very passionate about zines and Chacos.
God, no, not Chacos.
I actually do not own a pair of Chacos. I'm a failure as a lesbian.
Okay. I wonder, we like to experiment. This is another tangent. We'd like to experiment with personas and how to create them. What if I picked out a Chaco from Chaco's website and you had to design a persona based off that design?
Shut up. I'll do it.
Just fun little ways to create things. They're always coming up with new things to do.
It's like those adoptables where you choose an egg and then the artist draws whatever would hatch out of that egg. You just get a mystery Chaco and you adopt the Chaco and then you get the mystery persona attached to that Chaco.
That would be so great. And it's just a single Chaco. It's not like the pair. Yeah.
Not even a pair. No, just the one Chaco.
Well, that was a fun episode to go over. Lots of different mediums, different types of art that you can do. If there was something that we missed on the list, let us know. But I think we covered majority of it.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Other than that, I think we're good.
Cool. Well, we'll see you in the next episode, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.